938 Live. This is Talkback.
Now, in the recent Sim Lim Square saga, what do you think of members of the public taking matters into their own hands to dish out justice? Should we take matters into our own hands when it comes to meting out this type of justice? Public harassment of an unpopular individual may seem like a popular thing to do, but is it the way to solve an issue? Call us on 669-11938.
Now, organizers of a netizen-led campaign against Sim Lim Square shop owner Jover Chu could have broken the law, actually. Mr. Chu's identity card, number, address, and mobile number have been shared online by members of the public over the past few days. Now, even last Thursday, there was a T-shirt printed with an expletive placed outside his shop, which was closed. Mr. Chu's particulars, which were leaked online, were also reportedly used to order 3 large pizzas to his home on Wednesday. I think that's terrible. His private photos are also now publicly available. And flaming the owner of Mobile Air Online, understandably, well, stems from netizens' frustration over his alleged unscrupulous retail practices. But is such online vigilantism the way really for us to go? Do 2 wrongs make a right? And what if someone goes overboard and somebody gets hurt? Call us on 669-11-938.
And we've got loads of people already joining us. In just a moment, we'll be speaking with Bob Pickard. He is Chairman Asia Pacific for Huntsworth PLC. It's a global communications group. We'll be talking to him in a while. Let's hear from you first on 669-11938.
Hi, Andy. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Bharati.
Good morning, Andy. How are you doing?
Fine, good.
So what do you think of what netizens have been doing lately?
Okay, I think I just use 2 layman words, right and wrong. And I think we all agree that what the retailer did, Jover Chu did, was not right, it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The netizen is debatable. Today, in this world where Facebook, everything has been so commonly used. And I don't think any one of us can hide our identity. And I support what the netizen is doing, because what they are doing is they're doing something which is a loophole of our law, because this retailer can get away. I think he's not the only one. My point is there are many tourists who have been cheated, but they didn't report because they got no time.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I got bad experience in other shopping malls like Pickard Complex and Lucky Plaza as well.
Right, I'm sure. However, you said you agree with what the netizens have been doing. Isn't it going a little overboard when it actually goes into harassment? I mean, if, let's just say, a netizen says, you know what, I've shopped here too, and I had a bad experience as well. I think that's one thing. That's almost as if he's just trying to inform the rest of the public to stay away from this particular retailer. But going into harassment, don't you think that's a little too much, and it doesn't really solve the problem?
Well, I think, let me just flip the coin over the other side and flip the coin over the other side and see this way. Because what the netizen has done to Jovan Chu, and I'm sure that he is not the only unscrupulous retailer. And I believe all the unscrupulous retailers today will be very vigilant on what they're going to do, what they're doing. And I think it's going to do a great favor to our country. And lastly, please allow me to thank the mainstream media for reporting all these issues timely and accurately. I think the Straits Times, the Channel New Asians, and Today Online all have to be praised for what they have done.
Andy, you have praised everyone except for 938 Live.
Oh, at 938 Live as well, and you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andy. Andy feels that this would actually have a deterrent effect on retailers, on errant retailers. What do you think?
Yeah.
Was it really necessary to go that far? Some business owners tell me that as soon as you get just a few members of the public saying that I got bad service at this establishment, or, you know, they weren't exactly honest with me, that is enough of a deterrent to other customers.
Absolutely.
So there's no need to harass the man, to reveal his details publicly, to misuse his personal data, so to speak. So don't you think that it went a little too far? Andy says no, it was just right, and it would be an effective deterrent. What do you think? 669-11938 is our number.
Oh, okay. Looks like we lost Young there, but let's welcome our guest online. We've got Bob Pickard. He is Chairman Asia Pacific for Huntsworth PLC, which is a global communications group with 73 principal offices and 28 countries worldwide. Now, Bob, is this trend of online vigilantism really something global you've seen?
Absolutely it is. It's right around the world. I mean, out of a global population of 7.3 billion people, we now have 3 billion people online, and more than 2 billion people are on social media. So what this is about is the projection of human nature online. And so the internet's becoming like this social operating system where all of these emotions flow very freely, particularly anger, particularly outrage. When people feel empathy for somebody who's going through a tough time, their heart goes out to them and they feel a connection with the victim. And so they want, especially if they feel small or insignificant, they want to project their point of view. They want to speak out with a loud voice and challenge those in authority to make sure that their voice is heard.
Well, it might seem like the natural human instinct. And of course, some might say that these people are well-meaning. They want to warn others and they want to create this deterrent effect when it comes to other business owners thinking of doing the same thing that someone like Jova Chu might have done.
Right.
However, is there a need really to veer into the area of harassment?
I don't think so. I don't think there's any call for that. I think it's one thing to identify with somebody who's experienced some form of injustice and to say that you feel outraged. That's okay. That's sharing your opinion with other people in a group setting. Okay, that's cool. But when it comes to threats or bullying or harassment or saying that you're going to do something injurious to them, their property, their family, their reputation, well, that really crosses the line.
In your experience, how much does it really take to create a deterrent effect, so to speak, when it comes to, making sure that errant retailers fall back in line? How much does it really take in terms of the involvement of the consumer and what they say online about a particular retailer or a particular business in general?
Look, I think fear is the key here when it comes to making sure that people have a healthy respect for what's possible online. I mean, we're focusing on the negative aspect of going too far with online criticism and the vigilantism or digilantism that people sometimes tend to commit. But actually, when it comes to in different parts of the world, rooting out corruption or holding those in power to account, or maybe there's some retailer who's ripping off consumers. I mean, bringing this to the attention of the broader public through the conventional media, this in many ways performs a valuable public service. But people have to realize that there's no distinction between the laws of the land in the offline world and the online world. They need to respect other people. They need to respect the rules that govern us all.
669-11938 is our number. In fact, Jova Chu has now recourse to the law as well under the Miscellaneous Offences Public Order and Nuisance Act. He can take legal action against the source of harassment, especially if the online postings prove to be emotionally damaging to him and to his business. His wife apparently has already filed a police report. Give us a call. 669-11938 is the internet, is social media and communication on it, more akin to a cowboy town these days. Call us on 669-11938.
Arif, are you there?
Yes, sir.
And so what are your thoughts on this?
Yes, I was ex-shopkeeper in Sim Lim Square for 2000 onward 4. There's many cases happen. They mostly this cheater shopkeeper they did with tourists. And this all at the shops, the salespeople are mostly their family members, and they know whole family they are doing all this kind of cheating with tourists. When the tourists come back to launch a complaint and police come, the police can't do anything. They just say, okay, sir, we launch a complaint and tourists have to go back to home. But these people are routine practice. Every month have a few cases in different shop in the Sim Lim Square, and their routine practice of this one. They intentionally cheat to the all tourists. Now, for locally very seldom happen, but mostly our tourists they are affected on there.
Right. Thank you, Arif, for sharing that with us. I think a lot of people have also become aware of what is happening at these establishments. Fact is that many of you have also called for the law and regulations to have more teeth. In fact, just on Friday, we talked about this and we spoke to someone from CASE, and he did agree that really the authorities need to step in more harshly when it comes to regulating the way these retailers operate. And some netizens are saying because they feel that the law doesn't have much teeth, they feel they need to take matters into their own hands. But how you do it, I think, certainly does matter. Simply just saying that, yes, this is what happened at this shop in Sim Lim Square, stay away from it, I think should do the trick. Is there a need to publish the guy's personal details online, so on and so forth? Now, this isn't the first time this has happened, of course. Earlier this year, Britain, Anton Casey and a university undergraduate, Kwek Tin Hao, were also subjected to the wrath of netizens. Casey was slammed for degrading remarks that he made about the poor on the MRT system, and he said he had to wash the stench of public transport off himself. He claimed that his family received death threats after that, and eventually they left the country. 24-year-old Kwek was flamed for his poor driving attitude. All things personal, including his girlfriend's and family's information, was pulled up and shared on social media. He apologized for his behavior. He also
apologized.
Yeah, and he also claimed that the threats were made on his life as well. So do you think those types of threats are warranted, really? 669-11938 is our number.
Okay, let's go to Mr. Tan now. Hi, Mr. Tan.
Yeah, good morning. First of all, I think very important is the person in charge of case. This did not happen yesterday, let me tell you. Since I was young, this has already happened. All this misbehavior by retailers, and I did make one or two complaints, but nothing's been done. He said, we can't do anything about it. Do you have evidence? The person in charge up there must be removed. Reason is simple. If you know that there's so many complaints and you did nothing, you did not even get the authorities to legislate the thing, do something about it, it means that you must be removed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tan. Now, lots of people saying, yes, the authorities need to step in.
That's right.
We need more teeth in the laws to ensure that these errant retailers don't continue doing what they are doing.
Two ministers have also voiced their concern as well.
I think that has already been established, that more needs to be done in that area. But what about the behavior of members of the public in response to all of this? That's what we're talking about today. Yep, so tell us how you feel about what netizens have done in return. We've got Anthony joining us now. Hi, Anthony. Good morning.
Hi, Anthony.
Yes.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
You're on the air, Anthony.
Perhaps we can get back to Anthony when he's more ready to speak with us online. Let's get back to Bob now. Bob Pickard is chairman Asia Pacific for Huntsworth. It is a global communications group. Now, Bob, in dealing with some of your clients who require communications and PR efforts on their part, to what extent have you found that even if a consumer merely says one bad thing about your client, it is enough to tarnish their reputation to the point that they may go out of business? Does it really have to veer into such extreme behavior by the public in order for other members to be warned of a business?
I think if public behavior is extreme, the company has to show that it's listening, because behind that anger, there's often another emotion, another experience, another feeling that's behind it that helps to explain why it is they would do such a thing. So a company that shows, or a government that shows, or any large institution that shows that it's listening to people, not just talking at them, they're going to go a long way to assuage those concerns which are being articulated. And I think the most important thing, if there is a crisis, if there is an issue that explodes and there's a flaming attack online, a company has to ask itself not, what is the right thing to say? They have to ask themselves, what is the right thing to do? And in many cases, if they have made a mistake, the right thing to do is to apologize to the people who have been affected.
Right.
However, I'm more asking about the behavior of consumers. Andy, our first caller, said that we have to go to such extremes in order to warn other people of what this particular retailer has done. Other retailers, other business owners might look at what's happening now and say, okay, I'm going to behave themselves. But does it really take such extreme behavior to cause some of these establishments to rethink how they are practicing their business?
No,
right?
Absolutely not.
It takes less than that, right?
Absolutely. It takes the face of that man from Vietnam. It takes the emotion which any normal person could relate to when he was on his knees begging for his money back. That was, that's a great service social media plays to society right there.
Right.
We could see what was going on with our own eyes. We could identify with this guy. We could feel outraged, and we could say that we're really upset about it. But that's as far as it should go.
No, there's no need to go to extremes, even if you say you're trying to do other members of the public a service.
Absolutely.
Let's see what Mr. Lim wants to say about this. Hi, Mr. Lim. Good morning.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, sir. Go ahead.
Okay.
You're on the air.
Good morning. Yeah, my view is that what the Vigilantism has done is obviously legally not correct, but their actions are born from inactions of the authorities, right? All these scam cases have been going on in Sim Lim Square for many, many years. Cases have compiled the numbers of complaints received for each shop. They put it there. And up until now, there has nothing been done. You ask if the harassment is really required. Oh, but the thing is, even with all these cases, all these complaints received, the shops have went not operating. Case has done nothing. The authorities have done nothing. So you look at what the vigilantes have achieved. Just a few days of all this harassment, the shop in question has closed down, right? And ministers have started finally talking about changing the laws to better protect the consumers. Let's look at the end result.
Mr. Lim, I totally get what you're saying, but our guest, Bob Pickard, in the studio just said that it is really not necessary to actually go into harassment in order to get the results that we wanted at this point. That newspaper report, the picture of that Vietnamese tourist, so on and so forth, would have been enough. What do you think?
Actually, I suspect that without all this harassment, without this event going viral, newspaper wouldn't even pick it up in the first place, right? There's so many cases, 40 plus I've seen on the list on the case posted in Sim Lim Square, and yet how many cases do we hear every month from the mainstream media?
All right. Thank you very much for that. Of course, that is your opinion. You are entitled to your opinion, and we hope others will call in as well. Tell us what you think. Several of our callers have already said that, in fact, it is the netizens who have made sure that more people in Singapore have heard about this issue, and it would act as a very effective deterrent to other business owners. Call us on 669-11938. Tell us how you feel about this. Is it right for netizens to take matters into their own hands when it comes to meting out justice? Should we take matters into our own hands when it comes to meting out justice, as some netizens have done online in regard to the recent Sim Lim Square saga? What do you think of members of the public taking matters into their own hands, harassing the individual involved? If public harassment of an unpopular individual is the way to go to solve an issue, if that's how you feel, call us 669-11938. We're joined also in the studio today by Bob Pickard. He's Chairman Asia Pacific for Huntsworth PLC. It's a global communications group. Waiting for your calls on 669-11938. Some of you called in earlier to say that indeed what netizens have done is warranted, as it would act as a very effective deterrent to other errant business owners, other errant organizations. However, is it really fair to go into harassment territory? Isn't it enough to just say online that, okay, obviously this retailer has done something wrong, don't go to his establishment anymore? Do you really need to go to great lengths and, in fact, even commit criminal behavior yourself? Because harassment is actually against the law in Singapore, if you didn't already know.
It's an offence under the Miscellaneous Offences Public Order and Nuisance Act, by the way. So just do take note of that. We've got Alvin on the line. Hi, Alvin.
Hi, good morning.
Thanks for joining us. What do you think?
I think the ends does not justify the means. I don't think it is right at all, because I think it's a regression of our nation, of our people, if we think that just because someone is being bullied in some way, and so you send another bully to bully that person, it doesn't do anything. If justice means an eye for an eye, I think we have regressed as a people. I don't think that's the right way forward at all. I think, like what you have said, the online publicity or negative publicity is good enough. And if the authorities are not doing anything, we should do more to push the authorities to do something, but not mete out our own kind of justice, because that is just wrong. What are we teaching our children then? That if something goes wrong, we take matters into our own hand. If someone do something to us and we cannot get them, the authorities cannot get them, we will get them. We will do something. We will harass. We will commit something wrong just to make something right. And I think that's all wrong.
Right. So bullying the bully doesn't really work. Or even if you feel that it works, it certainly isn't the right thing to do. Why stoop to that level, right?
Right.
You were saying that perhaps we would be more constructive as citizens if we just pressured the authorities to do more in terms of stepping in when such things
Absolutely.
occur.
I suppose, in recent... there are many things that happened this year. One of the things that people will be doing is been writing in, creating online petitions, going on again, and those things do pressure the authorities. Those things do let the authorities know that there's a lot of unhappiness going on, and those things do work. I think that is a constructive and a proper channel of doing things. Whereas bullying and harassing and all that, even if it works, it is sending across a wrong message, and I do not want my children to grow up thinking that is the way to do things.
Thank you very much for that, Alvin. Really appreciate it. I think we also need to think about what it says about us when we start committing criminal behavior in order to right a perceived wrong. Let's see what Peter has to say now. Hi, Peter. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Peter. Okay, my personal comment on this Sim Lim Square. Now, there is no right or wrong for the people, the people of Singapore rally behind this saga of the Vietnamese man, right? Now, as I see it, I think the complaint has been too long. So there's I think Singaporeans, most of them who shop down there, they have been keeping, to themselves, and come the day, sure enough, there was an explosion, So I see also this way, like a government. If a country leader becomes so dictator, right? What will the people do? So Sim Lim Square, too, as I see, is very similar case like that. I look at it, it's something like very merciless. But you look at the other picture, well, he's thinking he's doing his business. Yeah, that's what I look at it this way.
So do you agree with what netizens have been doing, or do you disagree with what they've done in retaliation?
Well, if you talk about people like Singaporean compassion, what you call it, compassionate ground, of course it was very, very merciless, for a man, a tourist coming to Singapore, lost some money just due to some bad transaction and on his knees. I mean, you look at this, of course, for me, I don't shop at Sim Lim.
Sure. Most of us feel very sorry for that tourist. However, what netizens did in return to this business owner, do you think that was justified, harassing him in this manner?
Well, I think maybe this shop owner now learned a lesson. Not only that shop only, for all the shop in Sim Lim Square, it's better they do it clean and transparent.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Peter. Peter obviously falls into the camp which feels that by doing this, netizens have sent out a clear message and it would act as a deterrent to other errant business owners.
Okay.
Dave joins us now.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Morning.
First of all, I think Sim Lim, this particular area, is like a cowboy town. You can do whatever you like, and if the shop is not around, you can actually do whatever they want.
So it appears that netizens have also seen the online space as a cowboy town, and now they can do whatever they like to this business owner. And is that right? Is that the right way to react?
Yes and no. But if you have watched the show, The Equalizer, if this is happening in US and there's a Denzel Washington walking around like a vigilante, and I think it's going to be trouble.
You are talking about the movies, though, right? Let me ask you this, Dave. Would you have done something like that if you felt a strong sense of injustice? Would you have gone after the perceived perpetrator in this manner?
If you look at the perceived perpetrator, I think he's very well trained in this area. Okay, I think he is born in the days whereby the Abengs are very prominent, so they know the ins and outs of law. So you need an Abeng to counter an Abeng, right? So if the law cannot get hold of him, somebody will. So that's why what goes around comes around.
Wow.
Thanks very much for that, Dave. Now we're starting to sound like a bunch of threatening individuals.
Exactly.
And I never thought any 938 Live listeners would be like that.
I need to ask you this question, Bob. Sorry, but how do we ensure? Okay, this is all public spiritedness, and concern. But hopefully, how do we keep it such that it doesn't descend into this persecution or the harm of an individual or their family members, for that matter?
I think we have to realize that most people haven't been online very long, so the rules of conduct aren't that well established yet in society. I mean, a majority of the world still doesn't even have an internet connection. And here in Singapore, where social media is ubiquitous and use is very intense, I mean, still, even as recently as 2007, most people weren't on Twitter or Facebook, right? So I think the crowd, there has to be the wisdom of the crowds here. There can't be like a mob
We
rule.
hope, yeah.
And I think that standards and group behavior have to be shaped through experience. And reasonable people may recoil from the ugly face of reaction that they see here. And I think people can see that there's a difference between sympathizing with somebody who's gone through a tough time and has experienced injustice and wanting to throw the equivalent of a brick through their window.
This eye for an eye phenomenon, certainly not something to be encouraged. And I wonder if we were talking about actually going up to this shop and taking action or being violent, how many people would do that? And now they feel like I have this online space and I can use it whatever way I like. Is that really the right way of looking at issues and processing issues, even such incidents? Let's see what Sarah has to say about this. Hi, Sarah. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Dorothy. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. It would help, though, if you just turn down the volume of your radio set a little. Yeah, Sarah?
Right.
Okay, I think you've done that. Go ahead.
Andre and Jeff. Okay,
Yeah.
tick for tack, eye for eye, of course, is all wrong. And also, I think this actually, if you look at it in a constructive way, Singaporeans having come so far, you should also school yourself in the school of law. To understand what can be done, what cannot be done, what should not be done. And also, if you have an issue with an individual, evil with evil never works. Never. Okay, it only brings more evil. And also, if you have if you have something with an individual, take it out with that individual. And also, like in recent months, we have people from other nationality with other ideals, with their way of doing things coming in, and then like the Hong Lim Park and all that. So all I can say is that wisdom is paramount here in dealing with everything. Compassion, yes. Perhaps we can just post what happened to that poor Vietnamese guy on the net and let others judge. And the government does listen. And when they take action, it's quite serious. Look at the handphones, okay? And then you see things like in the papers, people are being warned not to use your radio, your headphones, and all that. Accidents waiting to happen. So nature takes its course, and for us, I pray all the time. But also, like what one of my educated friends said, and then he was referring to his wife and him. But I think this one we learn. Educated people talk. You don't do things like this. If you're educated, respect that. We're not religious, but we want to move on. We want to learn from here that yes, we need to know more about the law, not to use it to bully, but to protect and to use it constructively.
Thank you very much for that, Sarah. Really appreciate it. Bob, to what extent would you say actually all of this online vigilantism has actually changed the story, and not in a good way? Right, it's taken the attention away from what this retailer did, and now attention is focused on what the netizens have done to him.
Well, the discussion originally was about the awful thing that happened to this Vietnamese tourist and what can we do to make things right with this fellow. It's gone from that to look at these perpetrators of online harassment doing things that cross the line, which cause a lot of people to really doubt that that's a wise thing to do, because it seems to be an overreaction. It seems extreme behavior that isn't called for. I mean, this thing's already been on the radar screen. And I happen to believe that those in the government, those in authority, they will listen. I think they will make a change as a result of this.
They've already been making statements to this effect.
Sure.
That certainly laws in the business arena need to be strengthened in order to prevent such retailers from flourishing.
But we need to realize, I mean, psychology has changed here. Social media has made people believe that they assess their own intelligence, their own right to be heard at a far higher level. Surveys show that a much smaller percentage of people now consider themselves normal or average citizens. More and more people think that they are extraordinary people with ideas that need to be heard. So you see this kind of me or I narcissism where people are so impatient online. You know, I want this, I need this, I'm angry about this.
And people need to hear, and people need to see how angry I am.
I am angry and you will listen to me. This is the feeling. But where does that lead us? Where's that going to take
this
us?
Culture of entitlement? I mean, sure, we want people to have confidence that they matter. However, a culture of entitlement certainly does not sound healthy. Earlier you mentioned or you implied that perhaps there is a need for media literacy. Tell us more about how this can happen more effectively in a country like Singapore.
Well, I think people have to realize that with the freedom of online expression comes responsibility. To each other, to the community, to the standards of the country. And I think respect for the other person, empathy, putting yourself in that person's shoes, these are important considerations, codes of behavior. I mean, people will shoot their mouths off and sound off online because they can't see the other person and they can't be seen themselves. So they can't pick up the social cues that would suggest that they shouldn't do this sort of behavior. This has to change, and they have to be self-aware and self-govern, or else if they go too far, no doubt the government will propose regulation that some people won't like.
Already, you know, by doing some of the things that they have done in this particular case, some people have broken the law. We have anti-harassment laws in Singapore, so do bear that in mind as well. Talk to us on Official 938 Live. Please be polite and observe some decorum, because we try our best to do so as well online. If you have more to say about this, Official 938 Live, our Facebook page. Many thanks for your phone calls this morning.
And many thanks to our guest, Bob Pickard. He's chairman for Asia Pacific for Huntsworth. Thanks, sir.